G'day, I'm Colin Pearce. You've heard it said many times, I'm sure, that nothing happens in business until somebody sells something, but maybe you don't say that much where you are because you're one of those lucky sales managers or business owners whose sales team is all you ever dreamed it could be. Their closing ratio is a perfect 1-to-1, their customer retention is 100%, their follow-up is faultless, they exceed budget every month, they complete their call reports after every call, and they never cause you any hassles whatever. In fact, your only problem is how to play with all the money they earn you. Now, if that's you I'm talking to, I hope you enjoy your trip back to your home planet, because you ain't one of us. I've been selling and managing salespeople since 1976, and I know salespeople. Most of them are nothing like that. So if your sales figures are bouncing all over the place and your cash flow is going up and down like a yo-yo, I can assure you, you're not alone. So will you let me ask you a few pertinent questions, because great salespeople aren't born great, they're trained that way, and I might just have an idea that could help you do it. Maybe, maybe not. It'll be up to you and whether or not you're happy with how things are, whether or not you've lost hope. So the questions. Number one, how many salespeople do you have on the team? That's over-the-counter people, technical reps, account managers, phone service people, service agents, and road warriors, even receptionists and PAs, because we're all in the sales business. Now think about what you like about them. Typically managers tell me they're good fun, genuine people, real triers, great at a staff outing, and really good with their product knowledge. Would that be pretty much true for you? Oh, sure. Now I want you to think about what you're not so happy with, what you could change if you could wave a magic wand over the team. Now mostly these answers will include remarks like, well, they talk too much, they take too long on each call, they don't show enough initiative, they don't make enough approaches, they don't close, they've got too many callbacks, they don't sell enough when they've got the chance. And you could probably add a few more complaints to that list yourself. Am I right? Now I also want to ask you if you'd like to get that fixed. No doubt you think about that question a lot. And I guess it goes without asking that it's your job on the line and your livelihood at stake if you don't get it fixed. The buck stops with you, right? Okay, dumb question. You want to get it fixed. Well, here's another question just like that one. How soon should we address the issue of getting those salespeople a really good tune-up? Could you see yourself getting onto it within a week or two? Or do you want to wait until a new season comes, or a new year, or when the next shipment comes in, or when the busy period's over, or when you get some new recruits, or when the moon turns to green cheese? You know what I'm going to say, don't you? If the time isn't right now, it never will be right. Isn't it better to say, I'm glad I did, than I wish I had?
Almost 20 years ago, I was the HR director for one of Australia's leading engineering consulting firms, and we had a real problem. We had, on one hand, we had the best engineers in Australia, on the other hand, they couldn't sell. And after a day with Colin, we had miraculous results, because the day of training taught the engineers how to handle a sale process, how to close, how to ask all the right questions, and more importantly, how to, in fact, qualify. And that was one of the reasons Pacpoy from that time on grew to be the biggest engineering consultancy in Australia, and in fact one of the leading consultancies in the world. And it was all to do with the fact that the engineers knew how to sell. So I have a lot of time for the program, and I can thoroughly recommend it.
Now the 6 lessons run a total of about 2.5 hours, so I'm not going to show you more than just a few minutes in total. So let's give you that overview. There are 6 lessons, and lesson 1 gives you an introduction to the 4 selling styles. And I based the 4 styles on a popular model used in psychology called the Johari window, or Johari window, if you prefer. It was created by psychologists Joseph Luft and Harrington Ingham, and they named it after themselves. That's why it's called the Johari window, and there you go. It's normally used in counselling to help create balance between revealing something of yourself and being attentive to a second person. I've always liked it, and so I adapted it to selling. Bent it out of shape entirely, if truth be told. My adaptation is to say if you reveal information about yourself and your product and ask your prospect to reveal something of themselves and their needs, you'll have a great balance and a more likely chance of a sale. And I call this salesperson the balancer.
Yes, but it'd be expensive to run. Yes, well, running costs are a consideration, I'd agree. What are you doing at the moment to keep the bathroom warm?
Well, we have an old strip heater which is hopeless. I was hoping to get one of those towel rails that warms the towels, or maybe ceiling lights that heat the room.
So it sounds like you've already been thinking about ways to keep the bathroom warm, right?
Oh yeah, well, we live in the hills and it's a bit nippy.
Oh, especially in the middle of the night or after your morning shower. There are some other issues to consider with heating. Would you like me to mention them to you now?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Drying the towels is one, as you say, but there's also...
Then, of course, the opposite of this is the person who doesn't reveal anything and doesn't encourage anything from the prospect. And so you get this whopping great unknown area, and I call this person the backsider.
I need some advice about a phone.
Yeah, they're just on the wall over there.
Okay.
Sorry, Mum. Yeah, well, you don't wind them with a handle.
I mean, do they come with a spare battery?
Sorry, Mum. Yeah, well, we do sell spare batteries here, but that's really not my department. Maybe if you choose a phone, I can help you with it. Well, why don't you get her a gift voucher and let her choose her own?
Pardon me? You're here to give advice? Surely you know what families and young people like.
Well, people do use gift vouchers. Just trying to be helpful.
The salesperson who talks too much doesn't listen and ends up with a big blind spot and earns the title babbler. Nice guy, just talks too much and talks too much about features.
The best feature about this mower is the starter. It's because of this little gem here. This is what we call the Instamo. It's actually made in Sweden. However, it's had some of the best electronic brains in Japan work on both the mower and the starter itself.
Has he got something else to show me?
Yeah, come this way.
On the surface of it, I suppose that presentation seems to be all right. But if you listen closely, you'd really struggle to see the prospect in the picture. The salesperson didn't use the pronoun you once, nor did he tell the prospect once what the product would do for him. And the salesperson who only asks questions and doesn't offer any advice or solutions is called the buck passer, as he puts on this great facade of being a capable, nice guy, but he's not a capable salesperson.
What do you recommend?
Well, I recommend that we give it some serious thought.
Which would get us a better response from our target market, the readers of our books.
Well, it's not up to me really. You're closer to the demographic. I mean, is it radio or TV? Are they at home watching TV, or are they driving home listening to the ABC? Do you want reach or do you want frequency? Do you want growth, or are you trying to sell the company or a brand name, or are you looking at selling the books? And if it's the books, is it the series or is it a title?
Look, I just need some advice here.
Well, it's not up to me really. What would you like us to do?
I think you should make some suggestions.
Fair enough. What suggestions would you like us to make?
And to relieve your frustration, let's have one quick last look at what a balanced sales presentation looks like.
Look, all joking aside, I know that this is a new thought for you and I don't want to talk you into it, but it does seem a shame to have the tiles up and not take advantage of the opportunity to lay down the heating mat. You'll only get the opportunity once. Everyone who gets the under tile heating says, I'm glad I did it. Isn't that better than I wish I had?
Yes, but, well, it would have to be done by the 15th.
All right, well, come and check the computer with me and we'll look at availability.
Now, the object of the program is to get your people doing, say, a 6-minute presentation just like that one, with qualifying questions, benefit statements, handling questions and negative statements, and dropping in trial closes and getting the order, and all in plain English without any hype or psychobabble. Which brings me to an important question. Have a look at the industry segments represented in this list of previous owners and judge for yourself. There's retail, engineering, property, electronics, rural, insurance, fast-moving consumer goods, hardware, real estate, finance, banking, business to business, and distribution. See, it's not about flogging stuff. It's about the way you approach people across any industry. There are lots of exercises to help you master the skills. You'll watch case studies and compare your techniques with good and bad examples in the course. There's plenty to laugh about, and although the course is often light-hearted, it is never lightweight.
I've been in sales most of my life, working life that is, about 35 years. And I have to say I still learnt something today. It reinforced to me that I do talk too much. I need to ask more questions. And I think the other thing probably is to take time in qualifying the client before going into the close. So it's been good, important stuff and good, refreshing stuff.
I'm inviting you to start now. You can choose one of 3 levels. The individual level is where you or your employee take the course on your own. You get all 6 lessons and the downloadable workbook is included, so you can pick up the skills easily at your own pace in your own time. The premium level is where you or your employee, or your whole team if you like, join me for 6 45-minute bi-weekly group webinars in which I drill, grill and discuss the lesson that's just been studied. The advantage of this is that you're not left on your own because your group expects you to be in the next webinar ready to share. There are no more than 8 people in any group, so the interaction is powerful and effective. You'll see positive growth week by week. Gold Class is where I work with one individual, you or your employee, one-to-one in 6 45-minute bi-weekly webinar sessions. In this approach, I can dig deep into the trainee's mindset and language patterns. This brings about the most change and the highest level of skills. If you wish to clarify anything about the offer or the course, even to propose a customised approach, email Colin at colinpearce.com.